Hi everyone, welcome back to Reading Euphoria. My name's Georgia and today I am going to be doing my November wrap up. So I am filming this a couple of days before the 30th, so I am cheating a little bit, but I'm just going to kind of give you every single book that I have read up till now, and I still have a couple of days left of November, so I'm just going to show you hopefully what I will finish, fingers crossed, before December starts. So without further ado, let's just get on with the books. So I started November off with doing Lala-a-thon. Lala-a-thon was a readathon hosted by Lala, and it was basically just to read all of her favourite books. It took place the 1st to the 9th of November. I didn't do that well for Lala-a-thon because for reasons that I will explain in a minute, but the first book that I did read for Lala-a-thon and for November is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and I absolutely loved this book. I have fallen in love with it to the point where I have actually, let's just try and get it without, you know, all of my books falling down. I have bought 2 copies of it, so I now have the hard copy of it, which is actually the special collector's edition. Why can't I talk? Special collector's edition. Finally got it out. So I loved it that much that I actually had to buy 2 copies of it. So yeah, and this one has yellow sprayed edges, so you know, it just makes it even better. But I did give The Hate You Give a 5 out of 5 stars. I also have seen the movie since reading it, and I have to say the movie was not as good as the book. They never are, but the movie was still a great representation of the book, and I did really love this. I have actually never read a book before about kind of like black brutality and police brutality towards black people, and I actually surprisingly enjoyed it. I didn't think that it was going to be really up my street, the genre and kind of the theme of the book and what it's about, but I actually did love it, and I fall in love with all of the different characters, and just there was always something going on. There was always different things that were happening, and you never got bored of it. Although that it's like a 450-page book, there was never any boring parts about it, and I absolutely loved the story. For those of you who don't know, The Hate You Give is based on the main character of Star, and her friend Khalil gets shot by a white police officer after they've been to a party. He did absolutely nothing wrong, and the police officer thinks that he was reaching for a gun when he was actually reaching for a hairbrush. Star's parents don't actually want it to be known that Star was the witness of this killing of her friend at first, because they don't want her to be in the limelight and they don't want her to get scrutinized. Star actually goes to a private school which is predominantly white people. I think there's only one other black person in this school, so a lot of people don't understand what she's going through, and a lot of them don't even actually find out until kind of the end of the book that it was her friend that this happened to. Even her boyfriend Chris does not find out, and this whole book is just basically about getting justice for Khalil and getting the word out there that he didn't have a weapon on him, he was not doing anything wrong, and he got killed, and it's about getting justice for his life, that his life mattered. This book was just absolutely brilliant, and like I've said, I fell in love with it so much that I had to go and buy another copy, and I think that I want to reread this soon, even though I only read this a couple of weeks ago, but I want to read it again because I absolutely loved it, and there is a reason why it is a #1 New York Times bestseller, and you've got to go and read it to find out why, but it was absolutely amazing. The second book that I tried to read for Lala-a-thon, and I say try because I only got about 150 pages in, but that is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. This was another one that is Lala's favourite books on her Goodreads. Like I said, I only got 150 pages into this book. I just couldn't get into it, and I couldn't get into the story, but I'm really hoping that I will finish it before the end of the year, and that will be included in another video that I have coming up for you soon. I just hope that maybe I wasn't really at the right mindset for it, but I do really want to get to this because it is a lot of people's favourite books, and I want to know the hype about it, and I want to see for myself and make that decision. I have never DNF'd a book before in my life, so I am really hoping that I can persuade myself to get to the end of this book. The next book that I read in the month of November is The Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. This is the 4th book in the Harry Potter series, and I'm doing a reread of it. I was trying to reread the whole series by the end of the year, but since we only have 1 month left of 2018, by the way, I don't actually think I'm going to be able to finish rereading this series, since that there is, what, 4 more books no, 3 more books, but they're all a massive chunk. So I just don't think it's going to happen with everything else that I want to read. But yeah, I read Goblet of Fire in November, and I actually have to say The Goblet of Fire is my least favourite movie, but it is probably my favourite book. I thoroughly enjoyed the reread just as much as I enjoyed it the first time. For those of you who don't know, and if you don't know what The Goblet of Fire is about, I don't even know why I'm even explaining it to you, because it's Harry Potter, everyone knows Harry Potter, you've got to go and read it or watch it or whatever. But this book is based on the character of Harry Potter, and basically the Triwizard Tournament comes to Hogwarts. There is 2 other schools involved in the tournament, which is Beauxbaton's Academy and also Durmstrang School. So yeah, they basically come to Hogwarts, and it's basically this competition where they have a champion from each school, and they have to compete in 3 challenges over the course of the year, and they are very, very terrifying. You could end up dead by the end of it, and yeah, at the end, Lord Voldemort comes back. I don't even want to think about it. But this book was bloody brilliant, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, the same as I did the first time reading it. The next book that I read in the month of November was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is the 2nd book in the Arc of Scythe series. I already read Scythe last month with Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books, and I did a full review of it, which I will link below for you so you can go and see my thoughts on it. But yeah, we buddy read Thunderhead last week, and we both loved it. The ending, we've just been messaging each other, and the ending just blew both of our minds. And thank God that there is another book to this series, which is called The Toll. I researched it all, by the way, because the ending is just, it is mind-blowing, and it leaves you on such like a need for more. You don't want the book to end. But this book carries on from the first book in the series, which is Scythe, and it follows the main characters of Citra, which is now Scythe Anastasia, and Rowan. And basically there are threats on Scythe Curry's and Scythe Anastasia's lives, and there is also then a new character brought into the books called Grayson Tolliver, and he gets flagged up as an unsavory, and he has to do an undercover mission for the Thunderhead. And there's just so much action, and it was just brilliant. It was absolutely gorgeous, and Neil Shusterman's writing is amazing. I absolutely adore it. It is just, it's just phenomenal. And yeah, I am just so overwhelmed by his book. So it is no surprise that I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, the same as I did with Scythe, and I hope that the same review I give to The Toll. So go read the Scythe series because it was amazing. Also just want to say that myself and Nicole felt that Thunderhead was not better or worse than Scythe, but it was on level. And I said to her, I think that it's the perfect sequel to the first book. It is a perfect companion, and I honestly think that they are both 5-star worthy books. But yeah, it doesn't drop or it doesn't get better, but I just think it's completely on an even playing field, which I love. I don't want a second book or third book to be better than the first. I just want it to carry on going and be as great as it started with, which this definitely did. The next book that I read in the month of November was Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. This is the sequel to Daughter of the Pirate King, my bad. And yeah, this book, the first book blew my mind. The second book was just as good. Like I said with Scythe and Thunderhead, I don't think that Daughter of the Siren Queen was any worse or any better than the first one. Maybe a little bit worse. I think I probably preferred the first one to the second one, but it wasn't like a drastic pardon me, it wasn't a drastic drop, and I do honestly think that it was the perfect sequel to the book. Daughter of the Siren Queen again follows Alosa, and she's back on her island, and in her father's office, basically, she finds her mother hidden away, and she has been hidden away for the past 18 years. She is very, very weak, and she has basically been taken captive by her father. This then ends up with Alosa hating her father and stowing her mother away on a ship with all of her crew to then go to the island where her father and her mother met, and to basically give her mother back to the Siren people. So it basically just follows their mission and their quest of getting back to the island over the weeks ahead, and all of the troubles that they have to face with her father and all of his ships chasing them, and then to then go into try and take grasp of all of her Siren abilities with the help of Raiden, and Raiden and Alosa's relationship just develops and forms into this beautiful thing that I have fallen in love with, and I absolutely love the both of them. So this book I gave 4 out of 5 stars, probably 4.5 out of 5 stars, because like I said, it wasn't as good as the first one, I don't think, but it still didn't drastically drop, and I did love this, and I read this in a day. This is my quickest read I have ever done in my life. I read this in a day, and I am honestly dumbfounded by how quickly I got through this, but it just shows how much I did love it. And the last book that I read in the month of November was Save the Date by Morgan Matson. I love Morgan Matson, and this book has not let me down yet. I still have about 50 pages left of the book, so I'm not going to give you my full kind of review of it yet, because I feel like that I can't give you my thoughts on it because I still haven't got to the end, and the ending is just as important as the start, so I'm not going to give you my full review yet. But Save the Day is a great book about family and love, and the way that Morgan Matson writes is just an absolute dream. So I can't recommend Morgan Matson's books enough. I can't recommend one over the other. You just kind of got to look at the plot and see what kind of suits you best. But Morgan Matson's writing is so consistent over all of her books. So if you love one of her books, you will love the rest of them, which is what I have found with every single Morgan Matson book that I've read. So I can't recommend this book enough. And so far, I have given it 4 out of 5 stars. There are some of the books that I did prefer the plot to a little bit more, but as I said, I haven't finished reading it yet, so that could bump it up to 4.5 or 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm really hoping it does, because then this month would have been a really good reading month if I can say that all of them were like 4.5 out of 5 stars and 5 out of 5 stars. So I'm excited to see the ending of this book. And to just tell you the last book that I'm hoping to read in the last couple of days of November, and that is The House of Silk by Andy Horowitz. This is a Sherlock Holmes novel, and it's basically what he has written, and I love Sherlock Holmes. Like, oh, Sherlock Holmes is like my favourite, like not over Harry Potter, not at all, nothing will ever beat Harry Potter, but I do love Sherlock Holmes, and I love a mystery, I love a good mystery, so I'm hoping that this one is just as good as every other thing Sherlock Holmes that I have ever read or seen before. So I am really excited to get to this one, and hopefully it will be another 5 out of 5 star read. So like I said, I still got a couple of days left of November, so I'm really hoping I can get to this one, and then that will then be 6 books read in the month of November, which will be my best reading month so far. So that is my November wrapped up. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and let me know the links below to your November wrap-ups so we can see, or I can see, what you've read this month and your thoughts on those books, and they'll then influence what I read in the future. And then maybe if we've read the same books, we can then share our thoughts on them as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon in my next video. Bye!